Google has released a new tool to make it super easy to add your podcast to their directory and to manage it after it gets in there.
The School of Podcasting with Dave Jackson.
Hey, I'm Dave Jackson from the schoolofpodcasting.com, where I help you start your podcast and grow your influence. And this is exciting. Google has stepped up and made it easier to add your podcast to their directory. In the past, they kind of had to find you. Now you can actually just submit your show. You can see what the source is. I can tell you that I had one where the feed was wrong, and I've worked with their tech support and had it fixed within 24 hours. So let's take a look at the new Google Podcast Manager. All right, so here I am in Google Podcast Manager, and here is my show. You can see how many downloads I've gotten in the last 28 days. If I wanted to share this information with somebody, I could do that. I can see what feed that Google is using as the source, and if you do have a problem, you can click on this button here and send feedback, and I did that earlier in this week and got an answer already. So I'm going to try to I'm here on this show that I do. I'm going to copy the RSS feed. So I'm just going to copy this link and try to, this is the one I contacted them about. We'll see if this has been solved. So I'm going to say I want to add a show. All you do is put in your RSS feed. So there's my RSS feed for that. When I click on next, here it's saying it found an old feed on FeedBurner, which I don't believe I still have. I'm going to say, no, use this feed instead. So when I do that, it says here it is, and I can see there's all my episodes. Everything looks great. And when I click on next step, your podcast manager RSS feed and your email address match. In other words, I have, in this case, my School of Podcasting Gmail in my feed, and I logged in using that same Gmail. Now, if I had not, it would send a verification code to whatever is in your feed. So whatever system you're using for your feed, make sure the email is something you can get to. And yes, I'm talking to you Anchor users, because otherwise, well, you're not going to be able to get in here. So all I have to do now is say submit. And I will see here that it says, hey, get started now. Obviously, this is a new podcast, new feed. There aren't going to be any plays in that, but it does. They're working with people now, which is great. But here's some other great things you can do with this. Now realize this is only people using Google Podcasts. But if I wanted to, you can see down here how far people are listening. And in this case, this is horrendous. Now it's only one person, so keep that in mind. These aren't huge numbers. But if I go in here, I interviewed a guy from Podit, and I can see that it was 35 minutes long and people lasted about halfway. Well, you can actually click on this. And what's pretty cool is I can see here where people either went up or down here, and maybe I lost some people here. It seemed a bit, well, you can click right on here and it will start to play. Again, I'm an old musician. There used to be a cover chart. Apparently I'm telling a story about being a musician. So you can kind of see where people went up and down. And by the end of it, I had lost 50% of my audience. And I talked to somebody who does a lot of things on YouTube. And they said in YouTube, that's like great if you can maintain 50% of your audience. But I can see kind of here, I started off and basically around, what is this? Minutes played. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure I understand the 12 a.m. thing here, but at the end I had one plays. This, I find this confusing to say the least, but if 141 minutes, I guess this is different time zones. This graph doesn't make much sense to me, but nonetheless, it's here. And again, if I want to go back, I can click here. So you can get some decent data breakdown here. I can see that 92% of my audience listens on a phone. And so my big thing now is if I have an option for someone on an Android phone to listen on Google Podcasts or Dogcatcher or some other Android, I want this because this kind of stats you're not getting from other apps. So it's pretty handy. And like I said, you can have multiple shows here and you can switch from different shows to see what they're doing. And some of these I've just added, so I'm not getting a huge amount of breakdown here, but it's pretty handy. And the great thing about it is if your show is not in here, this will start the process of them actually launching it. So here I just made up a show just to play with this. And so you can see that it's here, it's in that. And in theory, if I go to podcasts.google.com, I should be able to search for my fake show here, except I spelled it wrong, but it still found it. So it's here. So it's a way to submit your show. It's a way to see, and keep in mind when you're getting into these stats that this is only a small percentage, depending on your show, of, we're looking at single digits here. I'm not going to make any major decisions based on single digit downloads when you have 3 and 4 digit downloads for the entire episode. So the good news is it's a new tool from Google. You can also change this up here and say, look, give me all time stats, which for me are not going to be a whole lot different. And it gives you more insights into your audience. So I'm going to be sure to driving people on Android to listen on Google Podcast because of this back-end stats. Some pretty exciting things from Google. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know the drill. Subscribe, hit the bell, etc., etc. Stick around for more videos. I'm Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting.com. Thanks so much for watching.